and we thank you for that. We will be presenting to the donations to the representative from Hands of Hope sometime in September. I know Jeff is, oh, look at, there we go. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Steve. So this is what we'll be raffling off, but we'll be presenting the items donated to the presenter from Hands of Hope when he arrives. I can't remember the date. So the 16th? The 16th of September. So we still have some time for you guys to bring in the items. Things for moms. What would moms like? You know, diapers, baby formula, bath bombs, Starbucks cards, pedicures, babysitting, you know, opportunities, whatever the things is that I'm just listening to what you guys say. So you have the ideas, you know what you can donate, and we appreciate it. Oh, look at that. You guys are on top of it. Thank you so much. Tom, are you going to be talking about the Boys and Girls Club, or do you want me to? Okay. Also a reminder. Thank you. Ah, well, look at that. We have a flyer. Did everybody get one of these? Okay. September 17th, Boys and Girls Club of Tucson on Grant and Country Club behind Doolin Middle School. We'll be planting trees from 7 a.m. to approximately 11 a.m. The Tucson Rotary Club will also be joining us, and they will be giving us lunch if you show up. Recommend closed-toed shoes, please. Hat, sunscreen, water. If you have shovels and work gloves, please bring those. Not a requirement, but be prepared to get a little dirty. Hopefully the weather's like today. It would be really nice, right? But Tom, did I nail it on the head? Is there anything else that needs to be said? Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, when is that? September 17th.
Tom, do you want to come up and say something about people's opportunity to at the district conference?
So we still have some sponsorships left for the district conference. Today, we added another silver sponsor, a real estate person, Panacea Realty. Congratulations, Michael Troughton. Thank you very much. So we're over 10 grand now. So let's keep it going. And if anybody would like to, I've got everything from Friend of Rotary at $100 up to a platinum sponsor. Let me know if you want to participate. And the district governor's here, and I'm sure her ears are perked up. So I'll give you the list of contributors, and that I'll let you deduce who did not open. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Jimmy up for a very important presentation.
Thank you, President Andy. It's good to see everyone. It's always a great day to be a Catalina Rotarian, right? But today is an especially good day to be a Catalina Rotarian. Today we have amongst our midst a soon-to-be Rotarian that's going to be joining us. So I would like to have Alita Darudian, if you can join me up here. And I would also ask Al, our sponsor, if you could join me. And Bill, if you wouldn't mind joining me as well. We'll get some pictures. So Steve takes some excellent pictures. It's like 40% his thumb, but it's really good most of the time. It's really good. I'm telling you. All right. So I don't know if Al, you want to join over here on this side. Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to give you this here. There you go. What do we got? Pin in the back. Yeah. All right. So today is my privilege and pleasure to welcome into our club Alita Darudian, who was proposed for membership by Al Chesser. The proposal has been reviewed in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of this club and was approved by the board and its members. Alita, as you well know, The ideal of Rotary is service. Our principal motto is service above self. And the object of this club and of all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise. You have been approved for membership in this club because we believe you to be a worthy representative, interested in the ideals of Rotary, and willing to do your share in translating these ideas into tangible realities. I will now ask Al to pin you with the Rotary emblem, which we expect you to wear daily and with pride. And if you don't, there are fines that will be coming your way.
Joanne and I were talking earlier about what happens to the magnet when it falls off. It's upside down, but
It'll rotate. Get it? Get it? Get it. Thank you. All right, and yes, please. Please, well, I guess with the badge, she can, it's a little bit more hefty there.
okay, are we sure about this? Okay, well, it's there for the moment.
So Alita, in addition to the Rotary pin, we would also like to provide you with these two plaques. The object of Rotary, which should serve you as a reminder of Rotary's ideal of service, and the four-way test, a guide by which you should judge the things you think, say, and do. So I'm going to give you those to you so that you can proudly display them at home or in your office. And Bill, if I could for a moment ask you to hold those for Alita a little bit. There we go. And so we are so happy to have you join us, Alita, as our newest member. Please, a round of applause. And so normally, if you're going to talk about yourself or your business, there is a fine that comes your way, but there's a special dispensation on the day of your induction. And so with that, I would invite you to tell us about yourself, tell us about Bill, and pretty much anything goes. So have at it. There's no, and then I will turn it back over to you, President Andy, after that. But Alita, I would ask you, once our meeting is done today, if you could just stand by the door so we can all greet you and welcome you to the club.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. And you told me to prepare a little bit for the club. I prepared about an hour and a half, just so you know. No, just kidding, just kidding. I was born in the, can you hear me okay? I was born in the Dairyland of America, the beer and cheese state. Anybody else from there? Okay, go Packers anyway. So I'm half terrorist and I'm half cheesehead. So I say that with love and respect. My dad was born in Iran, so I'm very impressed that Liz knows how to speak Farsi. And my mom was also born in Wisconsin with Swedish Norwegian background. So I'm just all mixed up. And I will softly say this, but I went to undergrad at ASU and I got a, I know. So I got a BS in electrical engineering, and that's what it was, a BS, because it was not my calling. But it's, U of A is fourth on my list because my sister went there, but then I went to the University of California, Berkeley, for 4 years for optometry school. And then I went to an optional residency at the Northern Navajo Medical Center in Shiprock, New Mexico. So, and then I went to Flagstaff and then came to Tucson in '96. I didn't think I would stay here for more than 44 years because I was single, but then I met my wonderful hubby 15 years ago at his first movie premiere at the Loft through a mutual friend. And he asked me to be in his movie. And I said, let me meditate on it for a couple of weeks and I'll get back to you. But then he put me in as a singing virgin. So, and then we were just friends for over a year. I didn't even let him hold my hand. And then things happened and God woke up my heart opened up. And he asked me, we started dating in April. He asked me to marry him on my birthday, May 28th, and we got married a week later. And I couldn't have asked for a better, more loving, creative genius hubby. And he just retired from clinical neuropsychology from St. Joseph's Hospital. And we've been making movies and acting ever since in Charlita Productions or charlita.com. So you get it, Charles and Alita, Charlita, anyway. So I also have a master's in acupuncture that I got in Tucson, and I'm currently working at the JCPenney Tucson Mall and the Davis Monthan Air Force Base as an optometrist. So I'm just so grateful and honored to be inducted into the Catalina Rotary Club. I'm so enjoying seeing familiar faces and meeting new friends. And I'm especially grateful to Al and Maria Elena for inviting me back into the Rotary Club. And this is such an honorable, respectful, loving, and charitable bunch of people, group of people in the Catalina Rotary Club. And thanks again for having me.
I'm gonna have you scooch over there, Alita.
Switch over, okay.
There we go.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Steve. Oh, thank you.
The boxes for you after too.
Okay, thank you. If I want to what? Oh, pack them. Take them later?
No, I just decided to tolerate it. Man, next time I come back, I want you to do the speech.
How do you follow that up? Probably, yikes. Probably by asking Pablo up to see who might be the lucky person today with a large Queen of Hearts balance.
And I also am a cheesehead, so go Pack go. So good job with the Packers. But then you lost me with Sun Devils. No way. No way. Okay. Anyways. So we're up to 5,380 for the pot. All of you are coming in hard. I mean, Andy's buying like 55 tickets every week. And then we got my favorites, the ones who buy one. And then we got some who buy two. And this week is one of our people who bought two, Doris. Your $10 got you a ticket to the hot seat. That's it. You have a chance. Oh, whatever. 5. It might have been. So Doris, you bought one. There you go. No. Did you get it? So we're down to 17 cards left. Next week, right? Or we're 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. 2 weeks.
But that means you can buy, you can buy for 2 weeks. You can buy them once a day. So let's part with a little more cash. Come on, Joanne Westerman, our sergeant for the day.
It happened. All right. Okay. Anybody that came in late, Anita, might want to throw in $1. I asked if it was tacky to charge the district governor, and I was told it's not, but since I've never been accused of being tactful, I'm going to do it. Right? I know, exactly. Well, after hearing your sad story about having to drive all over the countryside, I took a little pity on you. In fact, we're taking up a GoFundMe for gas money for Anita. Anybody want to fess up to not wearing their Rotary pin? Don't make me cough your name. I'll say it plainly, Michael. Oh, and I see Dick Carlson has his hand raised. Well, it's been so long, Dick, you probably forgot how to come to a meeting. We get that. Jim's got his. Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else? No Rotary pin. Pablo. What? Yeah. All right. Okay. And I'm sorry. Did you want to share with the class or did you want to just? I'm pretty sure that's a finable offense right now. Interrupting the sergeant. Yeah, yeah. And once again, as far as the low hanging. Okay, you're not the program. Sit down. What other low hanging easy thing? Everybody whose phone went off with the alerts that was because your phone was not turned off. Now, keep in mind, we may walk out of this windowless room and find the world has blown away outside. We have no idea. I did talk to Andy. Neither of us drove Corvettes today, so I think we'll be able to get home in the whatever weather is hitting us. And okay, so we got the phone people, we got the late people, we got the pinless people, birthdays, anniversaries, people. Any Zoomers having birthdays or anniversaries? I see a head shaking up there. Okay, is that a happy buck? Oh. Oh, congratulations. Your life is about to get really terrible, just so you know. You got about 4 years of crap coming up, buddy. I hate to tell you. Michael has his hand up.
5-year-old birthday.
Oh, better.
I got a 5
Yeah.
on Sunday, a 4 to
Yeah.
5.
See, now that's what you should have done, 5. I know you did it already, but 5 is a great age. That's a fun age. Yeah. 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 Well, and since BJ has like 42 kids, you'll have all the cycles coming up. Yeah, that's a good thing. Andy, President Andy.
I'm wondering if I can pull this off. I saw in one of the emails this morning that Holy Cats Swing Club just dropped another song today.
Oh, that
So
sounds like a Tony fine.
So I'll put in a happy buck for that. And I've got another happy buck I'll explain when I am back at the podium.
Uh-oh. And the hits just keep on coming. Who is it? The longer it goes, the more expensive it gets.
It's the flood danger.
All right, somebody over there is going to have to fess up and pay up. So, okay, let's go into more happy bucks. Who else has happy bucks? Oh, I see Tom Robertson.
Thanks. So I'll fess up. I'm getting ready. Cindy and I are going to Alaska for 10 days.
Ooh.
And so I've got a partial leg here and I'll answer some questions. No, we're not going on a cruise. Yes, we're going fishing. And no, you can't have any silver salmon when I get back.
Oh, come on. All right. That'll be a fun trip. I love Alaska. Very nice. Doris, was that your phone or no? And I thought I saw you put an envelope in the can. Did you want to share anything with the club or was that not you? Oh, yeah, but go ahead and pay a buck anyway. So good. Jimmy has money waving.
I owe Tom from last week, so this is yours. And then I didn't want to make you mad, so I'm putting in one for you as well.
Oh,
so
good.
hopefully that catches me up on
On
fines.
fines, yeah, good, because I do get cranky if people don't pay. Thank you for that. And, oh, and Maria Elena has her hand up, and I want to compliment Miss Sharon for running through with the microphone. That, I hate to, that's why I don't want to be
Thank
can
you,
man,
Miss
because
Sharon.
that's a horrible job.
I have very little money in my hand. I spent the weekend in Vegas,
Uh-oh.
and this is all that's left. I had the joy of going with 9 friends, 9 ladies friends, And we have been friends since the 70s.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was wonderful. But believe me, the machines are relentless.
Yeah, they don't call them one-armed bandits for nothing. Excellent, excellent. Back in the back, yes, our
visitor.
our pharmacist. Pretty.
I wanted to thank you guys for having me here today. You guys are so nice. And I'm from the birthplace of Rotary Club. So if you guys ever want to come see the Paul Harris House, they do tours regularly. You just let us know when you're coming in. And then my third happy buck will be because my son is starting school out here. So thank you all.
Excellent, thank you. Very nice, very nice. Anybody else? Oh, we got BJ again, and our DG has her hand up. I know, look at her go.
I'll put in a couple more happy bucks for Maria Elena because she was sharing that story of her friends in Vegas for the first time getting out of the house in 3 years. So
Oh, yeah.
happy for that. I'm traveling to New Mexico for business this weekend mostly and to relax a little bit too. So I figured I'd pre-fund myself so I don't have to deal with it next month.
Very nice. And Anita, don't forget Anita.
Well, I've got some happy bucks. I'm just happy to be here. You know, I talk about you all on every one of my visits, and I've just racked up 400 miles in the last week, and so to be back in your presence is really great. And then I'm really excited because I now know who my RI president's rep is going to be for the conference, and we have this young woman that's coming in from Birmingham, Alabama. She's about late 30s, a former Rotary actor, and never been a district governor, never been a president, and but she works with national membership, and so she's going to kind of shake things up for us a little bit at the conference. And so I'm just really excited about that. So thank you.
And Anita, tell them how many members are in her Rotaract Club.
Oh, yes. In the Rotaract Club there in Birmingham, they have 354 plus members. And in order to get into that, you have to be nominated by a Rotarian and 2 Rotaractors. And their dues is $400 a year. And they have a waiting list. So we want to know, how does that work?
Yeah, she needs to come educate us.
Yeah,
And while you're there, Liz has her hand up, and then we got Kirk, and we got Dick.
On August the 20th, 1921, my mother, a great Rotarian, was born. So tomorrow, this is the first birthday tomorrow with her not in my world. She would be 101. I was telling Preeti that on her birthday last year when I went to the pharmacy, they say, "What's the birthday?" I said, 8/20/21. And they said, "No, that's today." I said, "No, it's 1921.
Wow,
So in her honor, a little bit of money.
very nice. Thank you, Kirk. Your mother was a remarkable woman. Dick?
I like you guys so much, I stayed an extra week. I wasn't planning on it.
Oh,
I won't be back for another month, but I'm afraid with the dying of the American newspapers, probably nobody noticed, but since nobody else was doing it, I did an analysis that was printed in the local rag last
Yes.
week of what the real numbers are in the Inflation Act, which I'm afraid is nothing close to what they hope, but somebody had to do it.
yep. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That was noticed. Thank you for that. Very good. Liz.
In honor of our new member, Hanum Haley Mamdoon.
She's speaking Klingon. Be careful. What? Okay, are we all in? Everybody's out of money. The can's pretty full today. Good job, guys. Thank you all. All right.
And now BJ with a special presentation.
So in the interest of getting our speaker up here, I'll go fairly quickly instead of going through all of the wonderful things about the Paul Harris Fellow process and the like. But my first announcement is there's this wonderful bag of past name tags, and these are past members. So I'm going to put this on the table and pick through that and see if you have any friends there that we can invite back for celebrations later in the Rotary year for our club anniversary. Or help weed them out so that we can have a proper burial at sea, or whatever process we want to do. First, I would like to invite a very special person up who's been wonderful in helping out some of the operations of our club last year. This is a person who has reached the Paul Harris +3 level and happens to be Maria Elena McElroy. Come on up.
This is a surprise. Thank
Yes, that's why I had to make sure you were going to be here.
Yeah, he sent me an email saying, are you going to be in the next meeting, or when are you coming back? I have been here all along, but thank you.
So with a great pleasure, I present you with your Paul Harris +2, I think it actually is.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your contributions to the RI Foundation. And finally, we get to recognize you for this. We're a little behind on that, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't hold it up.
I'm sorry, I don't understand English. Thank you.
All right. And then, since I put a bunch of money in already, I misspoke on my first one. This next person actually is the person who has their Paul Harris +3. Double check that. And the winner is and my mistake. This person has a Paul Harris +4, so they already got their +3 at some point in the past, or they have lost it, or it's in a box somewhere. This next winner of the Paul Harris Fellow recognition is also Maria Elena McElroy.
Thank you.
You want to hold up 2 pins now? Okay. All right, and then I'd like to invite Al Chester up to assist me with this next pin. Yeah. 5, 4, 4. All right. So this next person is also matching what Maria Elena just got, Paul Harris +4, and it is Matt Mathewson.
Thank you. Hold it up, you say? Yeah, if you move away from the screen.
You want us on the other side then?
The flag's good. Thank you, VJ. The red one's retired.
Gotcha. So thank you again for everybody that contributes to the RI Foundation, and we will continue celebrating all of these milestones probably for the rest of the year, I think. Thank you. Happy Friday, everybody.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to do this technology stuff, so I've got a introduction here electronically. Well, thank you for all that. And now on to our program for the day. You noticed I threw a couple extra bucks into the can. It's not often you get to have your own son talk at a Rotary meeting. And I'm going to come to that in just a moment. Our speaker today is Dave Zuckerman. Dave was born in the Chicagoland area. I don't know why he didn't want to be specific, but he's from the entire area. But he was drawn to the West Coast early in life, actually, when it was time for college. And he, along with our son, abandoned the Midwest for the Pacific Northwest. And he attended the University of Oregon, and Dave traveled. And that's actually where Dave learned his obsession with beer, as many a college student does. After moving to Tucson, past graduation, David began a homebrew and then quickly fell in love with all things brewing and beer. Unfortunately, opening a brewery was not in the cards at the time, but he did follow his passions. And in 2015, he opened the Tucson Hop Shop, which we will learn about today in Midtown Tucson. Since opening the Hop Shop, he has gained the support of the community. He has supported the community, and he has expanded the operation. I said earlier that he was our son. He was until somebody thought that the ID card didn't look quite genuine and decided that they weren't going to give David Kerr his card back. That's when I lost a son. So somebody else had to buy that night. So without further ado, I present to you Dave Zuckerman, proprietor of the Tucson Hop Shop.
Oh yeah, that was fun. It was about a month before my 21st birthday too, so it's extra bitter on that. So yeah, I'm one of the owners of Tucson Hop Shop. We're a craft beer and wine bar in Midtown Tucson. We're Fort Lowell and Dodge, so it's very centrally located. We opened at the end of September of 2015, so we're coming up on 7 years in operation, which is pretty exciting for us. Leading up to opening, like Andy said, was really big into homebrewing, and like a lot of homebrewers, my friends were like, "Oh my God, this beer is so good! You should open a brewery." And, I don't know if anybody here plays golf, but brewing is a lot like golf in that just because you're the best golfer amongst your friends doesn't mean you should go on tour. And that's 7 years of experience telling me that. So, it was also quite expensive to open a brewery, so we didn't have the money. But we could wrap our head around opening a bar, and we felt like our little local area of Tucson could use a good community gathering spot. We spent a lot of time, about 13 months, looking for a location and perfecting our business plan, doing a lot of homework, which, 30 some odd years old, you didn't think you'd be doing homework at that time, but it takes a lot. It's a lot of planning. We talked to a lot of people. A lot of people gave advice. As I'm sure in business, you get a lot of advice. A lot of it is garbage. And usually you can tell the people that know what they're talking about from the people that don't. So some of the good advice we got was go down by the university. We didn't want to do that. Hire pretty girls to be bartenders. We didn't do that. And then, had somebody say, focus on your numbers. Decide, take a look at what your break-even point is. Take a look at what happens if you sell half of that. What are you going to do? What happens if you sell twice as much as that? What are you going to do? Because those are both problems, even though, selling twice as much as you think is not a problem. It really is, because, you don't have staffing for that, you're not prepared, et cetera, et cetera. So we spent a lot of time poring over a lot of that, and it helped us a lot after we opened. Like I said, we opened the end of September, I think September 22nd, 2015, in a place called the Metal Arts Village, which was a little like artist haven in Midtown Tucson. Cute little all metal building in a really terrible neighborhood. So how terrible, you ask? On our opening night, a meth head rode his bike through our bar and then was promptly, we have a nice little beer garden in the back. I don't know if anybody's been there, but we have a very nice beer garden that's all fenced in, and he rode his bike through our bar and into the beer garden. He almost ran over a child, and this is all our friends and family and all the artists in the village. And so, you know, bartender goes running back and it's, hey, you can't be here, you can't be here. And everyone stands up all angry and says, you got to go, you got to get out, or we're going to throw you out. And meth head handed his bike to the father of the other owner, and he promptly threw the bike over the fence and said, you're next. And the guy jumped over the fence. So that was an exciting night one. It didn't get much better. You know, it's like the whole like break the glass, mazel tov kind of thing. Night two, there was a SWAT raid at an apartment complex right down the street from us. So we were like, what the heck did we do signing up here? But luckily that's been about the biggest issues we've had since opening there. You know, a lot of the first year was spent running around like a chicken with my head cut off, being there from early in the morning till late at night, working open to close, trying to make sure my bartenders were trustworthy people. That took a long time for me to open up to that. Trying to create a culture that I felt like we could live with. That goes in hand with trusting my bartenders. We've been really lucky and really grateful to have most of our staff with us for years and years at a time, which in the bar industry is unusual unto itself. But you know, we have a great culture, and it's a very family-oriented place. They are all amazing people. We had originally opened with the idea that we'd have all of the most hard to get, greatest, best beers ever, and we very quickly realized that the distribution aspect of beer is not like that at all. You have to put in your dues before they give you anything special, and so that wasn't going to happen for us. So we quickly pivoted and decided, you know, craft beer has a reputation as being very hipster or very exclusive and snotty and all sorts of other awful words. We wanted to make sure that people came in and they felt comfortable, that they weren't confused about where they should go to order, they weren't confused about the beers, they didn't feel like they couldn't ask questions. And so I worked really hard to get my staff to be very customer service oriented versus most other bars in town where, you know, you couldn't be bothered to get somebody a beer or do your job if you were a bartender. And that worked out really well for us. We got a lot of great Yelp reviews, if anybody cares about that. I certainly do not. Which, you know, is helpful early on, but that's fine. And sales grew year in and year out. We followed our business plan. We took our time with making some hard decisions, and when we made those decisions, we jumped on it quickly and didn't let problems fester. And life was good. Life was rolling along really nicely. We had about 6% growth year over year, every year, and it was very organic. We cut down on marketing because it wasn't helping us at all. And we were heading into 2019 or 2020. We had it was going to be a banner year for us. We were up every month from the prior year, and then March hit. There was a little virus that went around. The news came out and asked me questions. You know, what do you think is going to happen? This and that. The president wants to be reopened by Easter. It's like, oh, okay, it's not going to happen. But Yeah, so we, on my birthday, we had, my birthday's March 22nd. We had a staff meeting and talked to the staff about what they were comfortable with and what they felt like we should do. And, you know, we were already leaning towards kind of shutting down our operation because we didn't want to be a place that was a super spreader kind of thing. And they all agreed with that. So we did like a big sell-off at the end of March, closed down at the end of March and stayed closed for about 6 weeks. The amount of support we got from the community and the neighborhood around us was absolutely incredible and very touching. We started a bartender relief fund to help our bartenders get through the time where we closed. We made thousands of dollars for them, which was very, very amazing. And then closed our doors. And we did a lot of little projects, pulled all the kegs out of our walk-in, and scrubbed every centimeter of it, which was just pointless because it's disgusting now. We built a sidewalk that nobody ever sees, but it's useful for us. We captured a bunch of stray cats and had them spayed and neutered and re-release them to where they live. You know, it was a lot of different things. So, I mean, they were having, the cat issue was getting out of hand. There was lots of strays. So, and they keep the pests away. They keep mice and stuff like that. And so they're helpful, but, you know, once we were allowed to reopen, we did. That was roughly in end of May, early June of that year. We were allowed to reopen for to-go sales only. We were allowing one person in or one group in to buy beer and then ringing them out, wiping down everything we could that we thought they touched, and moving on to the next person. There was usually a line of people and we were not making a lot of money. We were trying to keep our employees underemployment, and we were probably being a little aggressive in doing so. And after about 2 months, we realized we are hemorrhaging money and we can't do this. It's not sustainable. We won't be able to keep our doors open. So I worked more, they worked less. That worked out okay. And then closer to September of that year, we were able to open our beer garden again and have guests back. And that was a really big deal for us. Like I said, we have a really nice little beer garden, and that came in handy beyond anything. Well, other places like Caps and Corks, your neighbor, had to go and build a patio to have that privilege. We had it already up and going. So it really was lucky for us. We switched our model from bar service to table service. We all turned into waiters and waitresses. We put a lot of steps in every day, and the business survived. And people were waiting outside to get in, like it was some exclusive club for 45, 50 minutes at a time. There were definitely people that were coming in that didn't want to wear masks, didn't want to follow our rules, didn't want to do any of that stuff, and, you know, lost a few customers, and that's fine with us. Yeah, so that went on until we could, well, until the following June, roughly, it got hot. And we couldn't ask people just to sit outside anymore when other places were open and having people seated inside. And we kind of got back to normal a little bit. During some of that time, the owners of the Metal Arts Village, they decided they were done owning that place. They were ready to move on with their lives. They'd owned it, they'd built it and owned it. It was their dream property, their little artist enclave. A lot of the artists had left in the pandemic for a variety of reasons. But I imagine mostly it's not worth paying rent in a place you can't have people at. So they reached out to us and they said, you know, we'd love to keep it in the family, if you will, and we'd love you to buy it. And then they said, you know, this is what we want for it. And we said, well, that seems a little bit high. And yeah, it's like the old cartoons where, you know, somebody's walking through the desert and they're super hungry and they see somebody and it turns into a chicken leg or a lollipop or whatever. That's what I felt like. Like I felt like they looked at me and saw a sucker. So, you know, we went back and forth and we made an offer to them. They rejected the offer. They took another offer that was $100,000 more than what we had offered. And we have new owners. The new owners came in and were very excited to work with us. They viewed us as the anchor tenant for the village, which was a nice recognition on our part. I'm not sure what it's done for us since they said it, and we were like, oh yeah. But you know, they've been good to work with. The rent increased, which caused more of the people that were there to leave. But they bought it for X number of dollars, and that's what's going to happen. So we got lucky for 5 or so years of having really cheap rent, and now we don't. Now we have market price rent. So, but the new owners built us a big parking lot, and they've done a lot to support us. They've given us the opportunity to expand, which Andy alluded to. So we've over doubled our interior square footage and our exterior square footage. That was also part of our pandemic projects, was doing a lot of construction and design work and trying to make the new space feel like the old space did. And partway through it, right before we were getting ready to open, when all the work was done, but we were waiting on our fire permits and our health inspection and all that stuff, our bartender said, so what are you going to do to the old area? Because the new area looks so nice. You wanted them to look the same. So we haven't done anything, is the long and the short of it. It is what it is. But we opened the new expanded Hop Shop in December of last year, just in time for everybody to be very excited to go out and have fun and drink beers and meet people and all the fun things we used to do way back when, throughout the spring in the perfect weather. So it was a really great and busy spring for us. Had to learn my whole business model over again, because you know, you buy beer, you wait a week and you buy more beer and you see what you're out of, and it would be like, buy beer, a day or two later we're out of half of it because it's so busy, and okay, need more beer. So it's been a big adjustment in that way, but I'll take it. It's better than, you know, finding a real job. So yeah, I don't know. That's all my time, but that's all I got. That's up to present day.
Dave, we have time for questions. So I would just like to ask, if you knew what you were getting into, would you do it again?
Oh, no. No. It was one of those moments, like, I don't know, after the first year, I realized I didn't, you know, I met with the owners of Tap and Bottle, which is a bar like mine, and they said, we'll answer whatever questions you want. And I realized that all the questions we asked them were insanely dumb. We didn't even know what questions to ask them. We didn't know what we didn't know to ask. So no, it's no. It's so much blood, sweat, and tears. The only way you could do that is through ignorance.
So what were the breweries in Oregon that inspired you? Like Woodmere, Deschutes? Like
Deschutes was a big one. Definitely had plenty of time drinking Mirror Pond and Black Butte and Obsidian Stout, and Full Sail was one that I was really a big fan of. You know, at that time, now there's a ton of really, really big time breweries up in Oregon. In Eugene, where I went to school, it was really known as a beer community, but it hadn't filled out in the way it has now. So those were kind of the big ones to me: Full Sail, Deschutes. I'm sure there's others if I really thought about it, but I just remember drinking those ones a lot, so.
I had a question for you. So I took a quick look on your website and I saw that you've got a pretty wide selection from light to dark and that sort of thing. So could you talk a little bit about, how you choose the beers that you offer and how often you change them out? Do you have, I guess you must have some popular ones that stay, others that may change out from time to time. So just talk a little bit about that if you would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you start by explaining how you're set up.
So we have 20 taps. We have draft, and then we have a package selection, bottles and cans and whatever. Those you can drink on premise or take with you to go. Ideally, according to our business plan, we'd love you to come in and have a pint or two of draft beer and then get a 6-pack to go. That would be the ideal for every customer. That doesn't always happen, and that's fine. Some people have 5 or 6 pints there and then take a taxi home. Some people only come in for a 4-pack, and it all evens out. As far as draft, I'll kind of break it into those two because it really depends. As far as draft beer goes, we have a forever rotating selection, but we have fine-tuned our draft list into a little bit of everything for everybody. So, we're called Tucson Hop Shop. That implies IPAs. IPAs are 60% of the craft beer market. They are far and away the most popular segment. We have 4 IPAs on tap at all times. We have a pale ale, a West Coast IPA, a hazy IPA, and a double IPA. We very rarely will overlap in any of that. We kind of keep our tap list exactly the same and then rotate through different styles or different breweries. So like our tap number 1 is always a lager. It's going to be a Pilsner, lager, something that's been lagered. Tap number 2 is going to be a wheat beer, Hefeweizen, anything like that. Tap number 3 is a blonde or a Kolsch. Tap number 4 and 5 are sours. 6 through 9 are our IPAs. Tap number 11 is going to be a amber. We have a saison, kind of seasonal or flex tab, and then darker beers, porters, stouts, a couple nitros. We have a gluten-free, which was inspired by a trip to the Pacific Northwest because they have a ton of ciders up there, and we felt like that was an area where we could really bring that back here because not a lot of people are doing gluten-free taps at that point. So, you might come in and we have Dragoon IPA on, and you come in 3 days later, that's probably gone. So it just depends. It depends on what it is, what tap it's on. Any of the IPAs rotates really quickly. If it's a darker barrel-aged stout, it's going to be more expensive. Anything that's been in a barrel has to pay rent, and it's going to be more expensive for us to buy. It's going to be more expensive for you guys to buy when you come in. So that usually lasts a little longer just because the price is prohibitive to some people. In bottles, that real estate is important as well. It's just like the grocery store. You walk in and that shelf space is all spoken for. We do rotate through a lot of things, but we do keep specific beers on our shelf at all time, or try to. Dragoon IPA, again, in cans is one that we always have on the shelf. We try to keep a lot of the local breweries, but they're more difficult because their beer is in more demand locally and made in smaller quantity. And so it's more difficult to get, and it's more difficult to keep. And everybody wants local beer, so it sells faster. So that's the tricky part with local.
First of all, I definitely feel your pain. And going through the pandemic was tough. We got shut down as well. And yeah, you do a little tap dance to figure out how you're going to stay in business. But have you had recent problems with supply chain issues? I know in our case, we couldn't get CO2 for a while because they didn't have drivers to deliver it, and just goofy things like that. How has that impacted you?
Yeah, our CO2 has definitely gone from 1 or 2 days delivery time to I just had a couple tanks delivered this last Tuesday. I called the Tuesday before. I had plenty when I called, ran out over the weekend and was like, where the hell's my tanks? So that's definitely become an issue. The breweries are feeling supply chain stuff, so we feel it. A lot of our breweries have changed packaging. 16-ounce cans in general are in a huge shortage. So they're adjusting that to where they can get them. For a while, nobody was drinking in bars or restaurants. So all the breweries switched to purely packaged stuff. We were seeing a lot of breweries from out of market that we would have never seen here in Arizona start sending beer to Arizona because they were not able to sell it in their home market anymore. And they weren't selling in their tap rooms in the same way. So it gave us the opportunity to have out of market beer has high cachet and a lot of the kind of beer nerds really love. But yeah, definitely saw that. It was hard to get some things that were available in kegs before haven't come back. Some of it is distributor issues. I'm shorted stuff every week, and it's simply because the distributor doesn't want to send another truck down. They've got, everybody has labor issues for sure. So, it's one of those things. It's frustrating, but we just make them make another trip.
We have a question from Zoomland. Bob Delaney wants to know, and I think this is strictly a hypothetical. What do you think of people who drink Bud Light?
So that's a great question. I'll start by saying part of our business model is we don't support Anheuser-Busch InBev. We won't ever carry a product of theirs because they're about 47% of the beer market globally. They're gigantic, and they would happily crush all of the craft beer places in Tucson just to get another percent of market share. Well, yeah, they're a Belgian company. So exactly. So we choose as our protest to not give them any of our money. Being a Chicago guy, I've met the previous owner of Goose Island Brewery and got time to talk and drink a beer with him. Really great guy, John Hall. And so it's really sad that I can't carry Goose Island, but it is what it is. That being said, the hardest thing in beer is to create beer, to make beer that tastes the same, batch in and batch out. And Budweiser does that better than anybody. You go anywhere in the world, you get a Budweiser, you know what it's going to taste like, whether you like it or not. That's what it tastes like. I also am firmly in belief that there's a time and a place for every beer. So, I don't drink Budweiser very often, but it doesn't mean if somebody offered me one, I wouldn't drink it.
Any other questions?
I remember you talking about your locations when you were looking.
Mm-hmm.
And your quote that you wanted people to come in that were aficionados and not there to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Is your location doing that, and how many cyclists from the loop do you get?
So really being on a bicycle route was really important to us. And we had flexibility in our areas where we were looking, but ultimately being close to the loop was a really huge plus for our current location. We do get a lot of cyclists, and we have a good reputation within that community, which it's a very fickle community usually. They'll go from place to place to place because they can, right along the loop. There's breweries and other places to visit right along the loop, so they can definitely do that. We've been lucky to form a really good friendship with a lot of the clubs. We have a mountain biking trail that's not far from us, so we got mountain bike clubs that come in and they'll come and have a beer or two and then ride up to the Urban Assault Trail, which is not far, and run that a couple times, then come back for last call. We get a lot of weekend cyclists that come in and, you know, they're doing rides in the morning and they'll come in right around noon and have a beer and then go continue their ride. It's been a great partnership for us. As far as not wanting to be around a lot of drunk people, we've been fortunate in that that hasn't been a huge issue for us. We've definitely had to, you know, get people cabs homes. I've definitely had to drive a few regulars home at times. So it's been a thing where we've definitely dealt. I mean, it's alcohol. Deal with that. You know, there's a lot of training and a lot of regulation based on not over serving people and recognizing the effects of alcohol on people. My bartenders are very conscious of that because if somebody comes in and drinks too much and crashes their car and kills somebody, we are responsible. As Hop Shop, we are responsible for that. And my bartender is responsible for that too. None of us want that on our conscience.
Thank you.
Do you serve any food based on kiddos?
Well, I'll answer that. You go ahead and answer for the Hop Shop.
Okay, so we don't have a kitchen, is the long and the short of it. We do have popcorn. We work with a local guy. He brings us popcorn every week and we sell that as snacks. We have food trucks every night, although that's changing. Like I said, the village is under new management and one of our food trucks just bought the studio across from us, across from our front patio. So they are weeks away. Well, whenever they get their oven in, they're ready to open. But we'll have a pizza place right there that'll be open. So yes and no.
Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't go. On behalf of Catalina Rotary Club, Rotary's #1 effort in the world is the eradication of polio. And so in your honor, we will be inoculating 25 children against polio. And along with that, we'd like you to have a little memento. This is our Imagine Rotary coin for the year. And on the back is the Rotary 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do that you can use as a reminder of your time here with us today. Thank you. And if this has managed to wet your whistle, next Thursday, the 25th at 5:30, we will be meeting at the Tucson Hop Shop for our August social. The Metal Arts Village is just north of the intersection of Dodge and Fort Lowell. And we will have food there. So there will be food for gluten-free people, gluten people, beer people, wine. And Dave didn't say, but there is non-alcoholic drinks. And there's also wine at the Hop Shop. So there should be something for just about anyone. But we hope that you'll join us then. It should be a lot of fun. I also want to say that we had a guest. I was trying to figure out who this person was, who was on our Zoom, and unfortunately, she had to leave. But Patty Mejia is a prospective Rotary member. So she hopefully will join us in person at our next meeting. And you ask when that will be. It will be September 2nd, right here down the hall at Rosario's with Anita McDonald, District Governor of District 5500. So we'll see you next week at the Tucson Hop Shop. And if you'd now stand and join me in that very same 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, what is fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, everyone.